In this video, I'm going to share with you the best stock metrics for you to look at so you can find some very solid stocks for you to invest in. We're going to go into what those stock metrics are, how you can calculate them, and most importantly, if you stay to the end, I'm going to show you a way in which you can get all those stock metrics calculated for you for a very big list of companies. Now, in my opinion, these are the most important stock metrics that you can look at. The one thing though that you do have to keep in mind is that these stock metrics really depend on the industry and the types of companies that you're analyzing, but I do believe that you can't go wrong with these metrics because they pretty much apply regardless of the company type, the sector, etc. And the reason why I believe this is because they provide you with insights that are very valuable and provide a lot of insight as to some of the most important areas of the business. As you can see, these metrics include the PE ratio, the return on invested capital, interest coverage ratio, price to free cash flow, and of course the profit margin. Now let's dive deeper into each of these important metrics. Okay, starting with the PE ratio, we have that the price to earnings ratio is the ratio for value in a company that measures its current share price relative to its earnings per share, the EPS, and that PE ratios are used by investors and analysts to determine the relative value of a company's shares in an apples to apples comparison. And this number can also be used to compare a company against its own historical track record in terms of the financial performance that it had in the past, as well as the share price, against other companies that are in a similar type of industry or sector over time. And as you can see, the formula for the PE ratio is very simple. You take the share price at any particular point in time, and then you divide that number by the earnings per share that the company generated. It is important to know that there's different types of PE ratios. Okay, so to give you an example of how to calculate the PE ratio, here I got the income statement and pretty much all of the financial statements for Apple using Y-sheets. And then I get that the real-time stock price of the company right now, it's 172 based on Y-sheets again. So to calculate the PE ratio is very simple. All I have to do is take the current stock price and then divide that by the EPS. And this could be on an annual basis or a quarterly basis, like I mentioned before. And once you divide that number, you will get the PE ratio to be this number. And of course, you could do this calculation in the past, so you could get it for all these years as well. A good way to look at the PE ratio is essentially how much am I paying for the net income or the earnings per share that the company is making. So for example, in this case for Apple, if we were to buy Apple at this particular stock price, we would be paying 30 times what the company earns in terms of net income or earnings per share. Keep in mind, the higher the PE ratio, it generally means that the stock could be overvalued. And if it's lower, it could be that the stock is undervalued. However, depending on the quality of the company, you might see the most popular and the most high quality companies have high PE ratios, and that's because there's strong certainty and there's strong value associated with those companies. Therefore, people are willing to pay a premium to be able to get shares of them. Okay, moving on to the next metric, the interest coverage ratio. This metric is essentially debt and profitability ratio used to determine how easily a company can pay interest on its outstanding debt. This is very typically used by lenders, investors, and creditors to be able to determine the riskiness of a company relative to the current debt or future borrowing that the company has. So the formula for this ratio is very simple. All you have to do is take the EBIT of the company, the earnings before the interest and taxes, and divide that by the interest expense. What this ratio will essentially tell you is how many times over can the company pay off the current interest expense that it has. Okay, so going back to the example of Apple, if we were to do this on an annual basis, which again, it could be done on a quarterly basis as well, it's very simple. All we would have to do is take the EBIT, which in this case is the operating income, and then you divide that by the interest expense that the company has. So you take this and this will tell you what the interest coverage ratio is. You could drag the formula so you can do this for many years in the past or many quarters as well. If we were to analyze these companies, it's very clear that for Apple, the company doesn't seem to have any problems for now and in the future to be able to pay the interest that it owns on certain debt that the company has. And this only seems to be getting better over time. This is a positive thing as it means that the company is not likely to default on its debt and therefore is in a very good financial position. Next up, we have one of the most classic stock metrics that you can use, and that is the profit margin. The profit margin is one of the most commonly used ratios to be able to assess the degree to which a company or a business makes money. This essentially represents what percentage of sales has turned into profits. So to turn this into simple terms, for every new dollar that the company generates in revenue, what percentage of that will turn into actual net income? And so the formula to be able to calculate this is very simple. All you have to do is take the net income of the company and divide that by the total revenue of the company. Again, this can be done on an annual or quarterly basis. And this number is critical because at the end of the day, the purpose of a business is to make money. The more money a business can make, the better its position to be able to continue to thrive long term. And the higher the margins usually indicate, especially when you compare that across companies in the same industry, it indicates that the company has some sort of extra value that allows it to make more income for each new additional dollar generated in revenue. This is a very healthy indicator of a company that has or could have a strong competitive advantage. Going back to our Apple example, we already know that the net income ratio or the profit margin, it's already calculated using Y-sheets, but if you do want to calculate it manually yourself, you can just take the income statement, whether it's posted on a site like Yahoo Finance or from the actual SEC reports. You take the net income and you divide this by the revenue. And as you can see, you will get the exact same number. And once you do that, you can drag it for many years so you can see the general trend of this very important metric. Another important stock metric to look at is the price to free cash flow. This is very similar to the PE ratio, but it has a very key difference. So first, we find that the price to free cash flow ratio is an equity valuation metric that compares a company's per share market price to its free cash flow. And that is the key difference. The PE compares it to the net income or the earnings per share. Here we're talking about the free cash flow. And the reason why free cash flow is so important is because it's a primary indicator of the company's ability to generate additional revenues, because that's the cash that the company has available to make new investments that are hopefully going to generate new profits and more money that the company can then use to continue to grow. There's two formulas that are quite simple to use to be able to calculate the price to free cash flow ratio. One of them is to take the market capitalization of the company and divide that by the cash flow from operations. And the other method, which is more commonly used, is to take the existing share price and divide that by the cash flow per share. Okay, so back to our Apple example here, we're looking at the cash flow statement. And here, this calculation is very simple, like I mentioned before. So I can get the market cap using Y-sheets, but you can easily Google this value. And then what you do is you take the market cap divided by the free cash flow of the company. Again, this could be on a quarterly or annual basis or even a TTM basis. And then you get the value, which in this case is 29.87. Similar to the PE ratio, the higher this ratio is, the more you're paying for that particular company, and the lower that ratio is, the more of a bargain it could be as a potential investment. Another important stock metric to look at is the return on invested capital, or ROIC. And this is a calculation used to assess a company's efficiency at allocating the capital under its control to profitable investments. This gives you a sense of how well a company is using its capital to generate new profits. And the best thing about this is that by comparing a company's return on its invested capital to its weighted average cost of capital, this reveals whether the invested capital is being used efficiently. So if the ROIC is higher than the weighted average cost of capital, This tells you a lot about whether the company is doing well or not. Because if it is, it means that the company is generating more money than the cost that it has to be able to raise capital. The formula for the return on invested capital is very simple. All you have to do is take the EBIT and then divide it by the book value of invested capital. Calculating the return on invested capital is very simple. All you have to do is get the operating income, which you can find on the income statement. Calculating the return on invested capital is very simple. All you have to do is take the operating income, which you can find on the income statement. And then what you do is you take that number and then divide it by the difference between the total assets minus the total current liabilities. As you can see, for Apple, a 48.31% return on invested capital means that the company is highly efficient at deploying its capital. As a bonus, because you made it to the end of this video, I want to show you how it is that you can get all these important key ratios for multiple companies. In fact, you could even do hundreds of companies at once and get all of their key metrics like you're seeing right now. This is very simple. All you have to do is use the WISE function from WISE Sheets, which you can see the instructions here like I'm showing you right now. You enter the company, the parameters, which in this case are all these key metrics. You can see on our website all the important key metrics that are available. However, the good thing is that you can also find them all here, so you can just copy paste them, and then after you do that, all you have to do is just drag the formula across, and as you can see, all these numbers will update. Now keep in mind, I am using TTM, which I think is a very accurate way of comparing these metrics because it removes the seasonality of different quarters. However, you could also do this for specific years, like I could change this to 2021, or I could even say 2021 Q2 for all of these companies as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please share it with a friend and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what other videos you would like to see, and I'll see you in the next one.